The reason I put a clap on the front is I'm using this Insta360 camera and it's out of sync. So. Hey, and welcome back, everybody. I'm disheveled as normal. Today, I was going to share this amazing story that somebody shared with me. It's been revealed that the Vatican has updated its advice to Catholic bishops about its position and what to say to devout Catholic Christians when we confirm an ET technological signature, or as the Vatican says, the imminent confirmation that we, as humans, are not alone in the universe. That's very cool. But there's more. A UK government science department have updated their advice to the Keir Starmer Labour government in the UK about contact with an alien civilization. Both those documents are fascinating, but I'm not actually going to do that today. But I promise I will bring you the Vatican and the UK government science advisory paper tomorrow. But today, there's a bigger story. A much bigger story, and it's something that I've been covering for years, and that is, has Iran got super exotic, weird weapons? Well, just yesterday, a senior Iranian general is saying don't attack Iran because he claims Iran has got a secret weapon, a terror weapon, more powerful than nuclear bombs. That's very interesting. So for years, oh, my hair is so messy. So for years, I've had a real interest in the Middle East and its use of weapons. Going back to a time when I worked on BBC Panorama, which is a news and current affairs program, we worked on a film called The Secrets of Samara about how Saddam Hussein was actually making nerve gas in a secret facility in the Iraq desert. Let me tell you a secret that occurred while making that film, something that the BBC probably wouldn't be that proud of, and actually deeply worried me. The BBC producer and a team of researchers using satellite imagery proved that Saddam Hussein had this Samara facility that could produce sarin nerve gas. That facility would have broken all the rules, and it turned out to be true. Horrible Saddam Hussein actually used some of these chemical weapons against people of his own nation. So it actually happened, but it was actually a very small facility. But the BBC got a real scoop on this story. They actually got a shell filled with nerve gas and they opened it up, poured it out and took samples, but it was too dangerous to film. What they did was set up a remote video camera on a tripod with a video cassette, a Beta SP cassette inside it, switched on remotely, ran away, and they got scientists with full PPE suits to open up the shell of sarin gas and pour out a sample. It was dark brown liquid, and they tested it and sure it was a deadly nerve agent. All the time this remote camera was going bzzz and filming the scene for our film. The stuff was deadly. A single drop of it on your skin or inhaling it would have killed you. The worry for the BBC team was that their camera would be contaminated. The surface of the camera, all the controls had to be disinfected. But they really wanted to use the footage of seeing the sarin nerve gas that the contaminated camera had shot on the tape. So one of the scientists opens up the camera, removes the tape and puts it quickly in its blue Sony box and gives it to me. Oh boy, me and my assistant Anne at the time on Panorama went, hang on a minute, you're giving us a box with a tape that's been exposed to sarin gas. Is there any contamination on the tape? Nobody had considered that. So we took rubber gloves and took the tape out of its blue plastic box and put it in our video cassette recorder for editing of Panorama, and we're deeply worried. We're both still here. Phew! I think that potentially dangerous but slightly amusing story was what actually started my interest in chemical and superweapons in the Middle East. But much later on, after the Iran-Iraq war and after Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait, there was this outlandish proposal by George W. Bush to actually invade Iraq, and he got the help of Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of Britain of the day. Everybody advised against it. I personally knew, and lots of advisors knew, that Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction were potentially tiny. The Samara plant was probably closed down, and although he had a very small amount of nerve gas, which was deadly, it really wasn't a massive threat. The British Army were kind of lied to, saying that Saddam Hussein could fly potentially an aeroplane from Baghdad and drop nerve gas on central London. The whole thing was ridiculous, in my humble opinion, but something really piqued my interest, and that was Tony Blair's motivation for joining with George W. Bush to make a force that would invade illegally another country, Iraq. Against all advice, Tony Blair ignored MI6's advice that there weren't really any significant weapons of mass destruction. Plus, Tony Blair really didn't have the support of his country, the United Kingdom, to invade another country, Iraq. But then something really stunning happened, and it changed my life. At a press conference that most people forget, Tony Blair stared at the camera and said, "There is a weapon, there is a device, there is something so terrifying in Iraq that we need to stop it. We need to be involved in this war. The world needs protecting against this thing." And he never really defined it. And Tony Blair's frightened face has stuck with me ever since. And I've always wondered, what is it he was talking about? Well, maybe it's been revealed in this new report that came out yesterday, not from Iraq, but actually from Iran. An Iranian general is claiming that they have a weapon system more destructive than nuclear weapons. Very interesting. That immediately resonated with me. Does that weapon system really exist? Is it a bluff? But could they actually have a weapon so terrifying? That's what really frightened Tony Blair. In a very private email group, a Harvard professor has shared a report on what Iran might possibly have. There's a link in the description. I am bold and foolish enough to share it with the world because I think it's really important. Please go and read it. It talks about time dilation, gravity modification, directed energy weapons of extreme power. I think it's really interesting. I've reached out to the author to see if he wants to talk to me directly, but his emails keep bouncing back, so I don't think I'm going to. For some reason, he wants to keep very quiet. We live in interesting times. The Middle East is very unstable. Is it just possible that Iran has a super terror weapon? Or is it just bluff? The truth is out there. But before I go, I will bring you the full Vatican report on their advice to bishops when we have ET contact, and the British government advisory document that specifically mentions a technological signature, yes, Simon, and the possibility that life signs have already been detected in an exoplanet by a Cambridge team. As this story is unfolding, I deeply think we're in a time of confirmation. I think today there's enough evidence from technological signatures, plural, and detectable signs of life to confirm that we are no longer alone in the universe. I now think it's not only going to be the BLC signal. I think that's very good and it's true. I now think what will be confirmed soon is an amalgam of all the signs of technological and biological signals that we have got that proves that we're not alone. So 2 interesting films coming up about the extraterrestrial signal. First of all, what the Vatican and the British government are doing to prepare for confirmation. And secondly, my interview with a leading astrophysicist who wants to talk about extraterrestrial technological signatures. Sadly, that interview is going to be delayed until Thursday. So for you to keep up with this fascinating breaking story, please subscribe to this channel, but please press the notification bell. And for some reason, that's the only way that YouTube actually tell you about new films. You need to subscribe and have notifications on. Thank you very much. We live in interesting times, and for the second time in this film, the truth is out there.